Hi everyone, in this tutorial I'm going to show you Google Sites. And Google Sites is a website builder made by Google, and this can be a great way to create your own resources, class resources, go-to spaces for classes. It can also be a way for students to create work and to have it available online for you, themselves and other students to be able to access. Now, this is a website that I've created for my Year 10 Media, Film and Video course, and I just wanted to give you an overview of what a site can look like once it's completed. Now, the beauty of Google Sites is, because it's Google, it incorporates all of that Google infrastructure, all those other Google apps. It's a very basic site builder as opposed to other website builders which allow you a bit more creative freedom and aesthetic freedom. But once I show you through this, you'll understand why Google Sites is a great option to build websites for your own classes. So here we've just got the home page. You can see this is what a site will look like. Up the top here we have a menu with all the different pages that I've created for my website. I've created pages for each one of the areas of study that I go over in my course. And what you can see there is that I have been able to embed the Google Slides that I've created for each one of those areas of study. And you can look at those, you can go through those slides, or students can go through those slides as a slideshow, even to the point where some of these have YouTube clips embedded in them, and those YouTube clips will work straight in those Google slideshows. Plus there is the option to be able to expand that and watch that full screen. I've done that for each area of study. As you can see, I've got a YouTube clip embedded in there. What I've also done is, and again, this is why this platform works really well, is I've embedded a Google Calendar in there. And you can see students would be able to look at that. They'd be able to full screen it. They'd be able to look at it in week or month mode, or agenda, where they get a list of everything that's going to happen. So you would put due dates for tasks, dates when specific things are happening, and what you can see here is that you can copy them directly into your own calendar. So that would be a great resource for students to be able to use. You can embed Google Drive folders straight into your website. So if you have all of your content for a certain subject in Google Drive, all you have to do is drag and drop that folder straight in there, and you can see anything that is in that folder. PDFs, video files, they're all there for the students to directly access. And what I've done here is I've got that Google Drive folder for all of my cycle planners, so students will know exactly where to access their cycle planners. This is the Google Drive folder that is linked directly into Simon, so everything that's on Simon is also here on the website. And being a Google Drive folder, that will be updated immediately as soon as I add or take anything to or from that folder. Then the website would automatically update. I have also embedded I've created some Google Forms here for homework tasks, and you can see these Google Forms are embedded straight into that website, and the students can go through and fill out that Google Forms without even leaving the website, or they can full screen that and go straight to Google Forms from there. So you can see how this could be a really, really useful resource. And to be honest, it's really not that difficult to build. Now, if you just type Google Sites into Google and click on the first thing that pops up, now you're going to get this older version of Google Sites, which is really not that pretty. It looks very, very, very basic. Okay, this is what it looks like. What you want to do here is go to the new Google site. So the one that you're aiming for should look like this. So it looks a little bit more user-friendly, a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. You can see there's a number of sites that I've built, including this one that I was just demonstrating to you. To create a new site, you're going to go down here and you're going to hit this plus symbol, and you'll be taken straight to the basic interface of Google Sites. The first thing you'll see is a blank web page without any other web pages attached to it. And so it's up to us to build those. Here we've got the header. So this will ultimately be our home page. And I want to create a website for my ice cream class. If I can spell. Okay, so that's what my homepage is going to look like. There's nothing in it as of yet. This is what the background banner looks like on my homepage. You can change that. You can have a large one, a banner, or if you just want the title only, just if you just want to make it a bit smaller. If you want to make it large, you can do that one. These two options here give you just a bit more of an aesthetic, and you can change that aesthetic here. There's a number of images or designs that you can choose from here. Or if you want to upload your own image, you can do. Now, when you are adding images to your website, now this website, depending on the privacy settings, will be a website that anyone in the world will be able to access. Okay, so if you want to keep it that way, that's fine, and by all means share your resources. But just as a word of warning, if you are going to add images to your website, because it is public, you need to make sure that those images are free to use. They're royalty free. So just one way to get around that is if you go into Google and you do an image search like what I'm doing right now, just go over here to Tools, click on Usage Rights, and highlight Labeled for Reuse. Now what you're going to get here is images which are free to use. They're royalty free. And you can see that you're going to have fewer options, but the options you get are still pretty good. Okay, so let's look for one. I want to choose one for the main banner in my website. Okay, let's just go with this one here. All right, and I want to save that image, and I'm just going to plonk it here on my desktop. Okay. Now, this is just a bit of advice. If I go and upload that image that I've just downloaded from the internet there, it's going to become part of this banner. So if you've chosen a square image like I have, that one doesn't look too bad, but you'll find that it tends to get squished, and you don't really have much control over the squishing. If you want to see what it looks like once you've published your website, you can see there it's kind of squished, and I've kind of lost the idea of that original image. Just a way around that is if I'm using a Mac, but it's pretty much the same on PC. If you go to that image, just open it up in the photo viewer on your computer, and if you edit it by yourself, then you're just going to have a bit more control over what that image is going to look like. And just save that. So now when I go back to my website and upload the image that I've just edited, it's going to place it as I've chosen to crop it. Okay. And of course you can add other images to your website, and you're going to want to do that to both have visual references, but just to make your website a little bit more visually appealing. When I want to add content to my web pages, everything that I want to do is going to be over here in the insert menu. Okay. If I want to add text, if I want to add images, if I want to add any of that Google content, I'm going to be able to do it over here. So let's just put in that image. Now you need to do it via your URL. So if you just go to the web page where that image is, go back here, copy and paste that URL, and there it is right there. Okay, now I want to add some text because this is my home page. I want to say welcome to the class. This is what the class is all about. So I want to add a text box. So I'll just click that button. You can see that Google Slides automatically places it where they think I want it. Okay, now there's not a lot of control over text. You can't change the font. You can change the styles, but you really only have these 4 options. You can make it bold or italic, or you can change the paragraph styles, but that's pretty much it. So that's the limitation of Google Classroom. You can also see that as a benefit because there's a lot less confusion involved, especially when it comes time to having students use this application. They're going to want to make it all frilly and pretty as possible. That takes it out. It's just basically bare bones. So it can be seen as a bad thing, can be seen as a good thing. I want to place this text next to this image. What I need to do is I need to drag that text box to how wide I want it to be, and you'll see this kind of grid pop up in the background there. That grid is giving me options of how much space each thing is going to take up. So I'm going to give that much space to the text box. Now I can go and grab my image, and I'm going to place the image over there. I'm going to grab my text and I'm going to place that up there. Okay, so there's a little bit of control. There's a bare minimum of control. Okay, now I want to add some more pages. So I'll go over here to the Pages button. There's my home page. I want to add another page for calendar. I want to add another page for cycle planners. And I want to add another page for so you can see up the top here in the menu, the Google Sites has already generated the menu for me, and it's added every one of those pages that I've just put in there, and that'll be consistent with every page that I go to. Now the pages you'll see have just created a basic header for each page, and you can just go ahead and change that by clicking on that button right there. Okay, so in my calendar, what I've done is in my Google Calendar, I have created a calendar called Ice Cream, and in that calendar I have added things, assessment task dates, dates of excursions, etc., etc. Now once that's created, when I go back to my site, go Insert, Calendar, it'll give me all of the calendars that I have in my Google Calendar. I'll choose the ice cream one, tell it to insert, and it will plonk it straight in there. And you can see, once that's in there, the students will be able to look at what's happening in the week, what's happening in the month. Okay, go back to my pages. In my cycle planners, so in my Google Drive, I have created an ice cream folder, and in that folder I have a number of different things. I've got assessment tasks, and I've got quizzes, and I've got Google slideshows, etc. Anything that is in Google Drive I can add to my site. So if I want to add the folder that's in my Google Drive containing all of my cycle planners, I'll go to Insert, from Drive, my Drive, I'll look for my ice cream folder. There it is. Click on the cycle planners, insert, and that'll generate a link to that Drive folder. And you can see there are all of my cycle planners embedded in there for the students to be able to access. If I go back to my pages, you can see I can readjust these. I might put that ice cream task up the top there. Now in this one, this is where I want to add some content. So I can go, I've got a Google slide created for this subject. I'll go to slides. It'll say which one do you want to include. I'll say that one. Insert. That'll embed that slideshow straight in there. If I want to add text, and I can add the text there, and that slideshow will be available in real time. As you can see there, I can add YouTube clips. I can add maps from Google Maps. I can add Google Docs directly in there. If you want to at any point see what your slideshow is going to look like, you can click this preview button up the top here. And that's what it's going to look like on your computer when you look at it online. Okay, here's the menu at the top here. You also have the option of seeing what it will look like on a mobile device or on a tablet. As you can see, that website looks pretty bare bones. I might want to change the theme. Okay, so as I said before, there's not a lot of aesthetic manipulation that you can do with Google Sites, but you do have this themes option over here. So you might want to have a scroll through that and try to find a different theme and assign a color to it. You can change the style of the font as well. So there's not a lot of control, but there's a little bit of control. Once that's done and you've put everything in place, you're ready to publish. So if I click on the publish button, and it will take me to this pop-up window, which will ask me to publish my site. Now the URL, as you can see here, contains our school's information in there, but it's asking me for an extension. So that's what the URL is going to look like. We just need to tack on something at the end there, which is going to be unique for this particular website. So if I type in ice cream, I can be pretty sure that that's not going to be taken yet, and this little tick will indicate that that's okay. The URL is not going to be neat and tidy. However, you can always insert it into the Google URL shortener, which is goo.gl, if you want to create a shortened version of that URL that you can share with your students. When I'm ready to publish, I'll click publish. It'll tell me that I'm ready to go. I can click view, and there you can see there's the URL that I've created. There's my website. We are live and we are online. Now, if I want to go back and change anything to any part of the website, of course I can do that. I can manipulate, I can add text. So if I was to add a text box down here with some more information in it, that wouldn't be live until I went back and clicked that publish button again. Okay, so that's a basic overview of Google Sites. I hope you find it useful.